Hello there, this is Sekrios, otherwise known as Movie Modown, the director of Blue Spy.
And this is Dr. Ocsid, the watcher and commentator of Blue Spy.
Okay, and we're going to be talking about Blue Spy, the delightful series about a spy who seems to be infatuated with Rarity from MLP.
And also, there's lots of anime.
Yes, a lot of anime. Oh, seems we already, it's already like started off to a good start.
Right, that's the good thing about this series. It never lets up on the keeping things moving, except at the random moments where it just completely stops for a while.
Yeah, oh god. So this whole like first episode was meant to kind of just establish the dynamic. It was kind of inspired from I saw like some pictures where they would like ship the different MLP characters with the TF2 characters back when like bronyism was actually a thing and all that. And it was like, oh, American Spy, yeah, that makes sense. And I thought I'd make it. Some people were into it, some people weren't. I wanted to make like a bit of a very weird soap opera-ish kind of drama with a lot of the Gary's modisms, stuff like you would see like Rubber Fruit, YouTube poops and stuff. A lot of really like outlandish concepts.
Ah, I see. And Slender Man, apparently.
Yeah. I was into Slender Man at the time, like because that was what everyone on like the creepypasta side of things were like just talking about.
Right.
A lot of people.
Got it.
Oh, sorry. A lot of people.
I
Gotcha. Oh, here you go.
I was just gonna say I love Spy's reaction there. He just met her, and he's freaking out so hard. That is very soap opery, like overacting sort of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. To be quite honest, there was a lot of people that asked like questions about what is Heavy and Spy's relationship or whatever, because for some reason they're like two opposite sides of a very well established war in like the TF2 universe. It was weird. I was coming up with this idea like, oh no, they have like a neutral territory training academy or whatever, and like they knew each other in like high school and college or whatever. It was really weird.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning something like the Spy and Heavy knew each other in like military academy or something.
Yeah,
That's why they're friends.
obviously this whole segment's just a remake of that Full Metal Alchemist. This was like before I even knew what a field of view was, so they would end up really tiny in the distance.
Right. Yeah, that was something I couldn't figure out at first either, back when I first made like Gary's mod SM stuff, field of view. So close-ups always looked really weird.
Oh, absolutely. So like, I think at this point on, I did this like anime trope where it would be, oh, the last time on such and such event. I had a guy called the Inverted Shadow like do a load of voices like at the start of each episode just to explain briefly what happened.
Right, yeah. I know of the inverted shadow. I've seen a decent few of his videos. I back when I first watched this, so I didn't know that was him.
I took some basic inspiration from him in regards to this. Not too much though. It's kind of ironic because a lot of people, like the same people that like don't seem to be into Blue Spy, seem to be really big fans of Inverted Shadow, which is kind of ironic, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, he does seem to make a lot of kind of similar, like, Gmod pony content.
Yeah.
And also, of course, with TF2 in it, because that's kind of just a prerequisite. If you're making a Gmod video, it's hard to not have TF2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the TF2 models are kind of like go hand in hand when it comes to making the content. Obviously, this scene right here is the Evangelion opening, but this was like before it got like properly memed on.
Right.
Uh,
Oh yeah, I was wondering about this part. Why does Spy have like tentacles here?
there was meant to be a subplot involving Slender Man, as if like in a very very like distant timeline there was a version of Blue Spy that got corrupted and became Slender Man, and that's a reference to the Tenta Spy or something. It
Ah,
never went anywhere. Like literally, these are like all half baked ideas, and some of them just vanish from existence.
right. Yeah, I remember when I made my video on this. I remember like throughout this entire interview, not interview, this whole intro, I labeled like half the stuff because like none of it was stuff that ever actually appeared.
Was there anything of note that you was really thinking, oh my god, why isn't this in anything? What exactly was this even supposed to be?
Hmm. What was the Gen 01 thing?
Okay, there was an old theory, but it kind of got like scrapped because some guy was just like jumping around on the Wikipedia. But like I was thinking, in general, all the TF2 characters are clones of the originals.
Oh.
So it's in a future where like they're just mass produced. I mean, they got the real art called the mercenaries, and I thought, oh yeah, why don't we just mass produce them since they're doing so well at their job? And so that's what they did. And so like this was meant to be like a first generation spy or whatever, and it was meant to be like other generations with more advanced spy abilities later on, kind of like a shonen.
Oh. So this is like, it's like that explains why it takes place in like 2077 or whatever.
Yeah, the year was way too far in the future, I think, looking back on it.
Yeah, and then there's ponies also, and whoever that is.
Yeah, that guy. Here's the thing. The idea was there was meant to be like a blue spy movie that would take place after the main series, and it would actually explain all of why that guy was there. Supposedly, Princess Celestia was like being indoctrinated by some sort of like hive mind alien or whatever, and like there was like a faction called the Black Knights, and they were meant to like, you know what I mean, they would have like this, there would be like this wedding episode, but then all of a sudden they would like show up at the last moment, wreck shit, and like cause like an undead apocalypse. It was really weird.
Well, that is very ambitious.
Yeah, actually, if there was a Blue Spy movie, it would start off like the SpongeBob movie, but instead of it being pirates, it would be like mafiosos trying to dig up one of their like body patches to find a missing copy of Blue Spy. And then when they find it, oh, it's a copy to the Blue Spy movie, and then they start dancing to Evangelion.
That would actually be pretty funny, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Here's the Troll Empire with DM Gyna.
Oh god, yeah. Here's the thing. I saw him. He was like a commandant character. For oh yeah, I mean, he looks like he kind of fits the part. So I used it like his model. I got his permission. I even got him to voice a little, but like it took way too long to get voice lines from him. Not to mention, he didn't exactly have the best recording equipment. So I thought, yeah, just because I have a character doesn't necessarily mean it could be the voice of the same character, depending on the kind of quality and stuff.
Right. He in like the later episodes, he was voiced by like what was it, Muse Trigger, right?
Yeah, Muse Trigger. He did an alright job there. Like he got the German accent more or less right, I guess.
Oh yeah, he's definitely very popular nowadays in the TF2 community. Since he can do such a good scout impression.
Oh, he's real brilliant, dude. I actually here's the thing, I haven't exactly been doing too many like voice lines from like people for a while. I've kind of like switched to a more professional voice acting community or whatever, but I had got him to do a few bits here and there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that was one thing about this series I thought was funny was that like you kind of mixed like people doing impressions of the characters with like just using their actual voice lines, so it kind of switched back and forth a lot.
Actually, believe it or not, the vacuum of the inside of an airplane doesn't actually work like this. So
yeah,
they're just getting
Spy's fine. He's just sitting there. Everyone else is getting sucked out though.
Yeah. I don't know why Slender Man likes chasing DM Gyna. That's just kind of like a running joke in the series.
Oh, I see. I was wondering what was with those two. If there was some kind of deep lore behind it or something.
The idea is that Blue Spy's being stalked by Slender Man because it's linked back to that whole timeline nonsense. But because like DM Gyna was getting too close, and it was in Slender Man's best interest to keep his timeline safe. I guess. It's like causality, it's kind of weird.
I see. Oh yeah, and we have like the American cheese spy here with the
yeah. Everyone calls him Yellow Spy, and I'm like, no, dude, he's Orange Spy. But I think like the color tones were a little off.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. It does seem kind of like between yellow and orange, more or less. His mask on his face. I swear, it looks like cheese. I can't get over that.
Yeah, like that's the thing with the Fong maps. It gives it that kind of reflective, plasticky kind of look. So it does indeed look like melted cheese. Oh god, this whole ending sequence was from Code Geass.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I just got the framing together, then I just replaced the characters with something else. Oh, there was.
With the
Go on.
with the Dr. Kleiner guy, Dr. Otis. What is there anything behind that, or is that just a guy you made up for this?
No, there was a guy who plays a character called Otis. He's a little bit of a hyper memer. You know when someone's surrounded by several layers of irony that you never know what they truly mean about anything?
Yeah.
He was one of those. So I got him. He did all the voices. I don't know if he's actually old, if he's just doing like a voice or whatever. But there would be this gag where like loads of images and text would like show up as he's talking, just to make sense of all his antics.
Next episode will feature zombie ponies. I never saw that part.
Yeah. Well, that's appealing. Just, I mean, it's good marketing. Just say, oh yeah, this one cringy thing mixed with another, put them together. It's like, you know, I mean, it's just proper Nirvana.
Gotta hype up the zombie ponies. That's what people watch this for.
Yeah, definitely. It's not about the story or anything. It's not. What are you on about? No.
What about the Troll Empire thing? What is that?
Oh, that was complicated. Here's the thing: when you grow up like on the internet, it's like you have a vague idea what's going on, but none of like the political ins or outs or whatever. So like some people could draw allegories from things that might not actually be there. This was all like pre 2016 era politics, so it was very messy. A lot of people were just kind of in the wilderness with a lot of views. A lot of them kind of became skeptics or atheists and all that. That was no, really, dude. That's kind of how it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just laughing because I saw PewDiePie on the screen.
Oh, yeah. PewDiePie was a. Well, I mean, he's a big deal now, but still, though, like back at the time, he was like, "Oh, PewDiePie." Like, I don't mean to sound like a hipster, but I watched PewDiePie before he became like fully like popular and everything. I think I started watching him around when he was playing AO Oni with the big purple monster dude.
I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, I used to watch him back then too.
Oh god, yeah, there was this. Yeah, this is rather dark. Yeah, there was a yeah, there was meant to be like this whole backstory nonsense where Blue Spy had like a mother or whatever, but supposedly she committed suicide, but there's a bit of ambiguity whether or not it was like set up by his father or something for like geopolitical reasons. Like,
wow.
I know.
Like, yeah, you introduced a lot of like horror tones with this episode.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to like, you know, it started all cutesy and friendly and get it like dark and darker, but the problem is there's just too many gags between it.
Mm-hmm.
So it just doesn't happen, you know?
Yeah. Oh, there's like G-Man and stuff.
No, that's meant to be President Bush.
That's George Bush?
Yeah, that's meant to be George Bush.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh.
The zombie ponies.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah. Brains.
Yeah, they're being controlled by this like possessed like red spy that's controlled by Zalgo, who's meant to be like this.
Oh, right.
He's just some creepypasta dude that's meant to be like a Cthulhu-esque kind of horror or whatever.
Yeah, I remember Soldier mentioning Zalgo in like the next episode, I think.
Yeah, that's like the only time he ever gets like properly named.
Right. And then like this is around the point in the series where it like suddenly switches to Source Filmmaker.
Yeah, it was a good learning experience. I mean, don't get me wrong, like it was a bit crass, a little bit. They move like a theme park animatronic, where they're like the different bolts and joints in their arms are like moving in very stilted motions. Oh,
right, yeah.
Hold on, this scene here, right? Coming up, you're gonna notice that like Scout's neck kind of like stretches backwards.
Mm-hmm.
There's a retcon plot reason for that. Supposedly he ate gum fruit from One Piece, so he's elastic.
There's lore behind that? I thought it was just like
yeah.
a joke thing.
I was thinking, here's the thing, I had this like pipe dream of making like a spin-off, like one standalone episode where like Scout, you know, just leaves the war. He wants nothing to do with it and decides to live on an island. But then there's like this red demo band who's like after the gum fruit and he gets it first and he beats the shit out of him. And then like the leader of the Blues come back. And he's like, "Oh, Scout, your country needs you." And he's like, "Oh, you know what I mean?" Very generic shit.
And I guess there's this scene here where like Scout finds like Medic is dead, and then it shows a picture of them together. So is that more?
Oh, talk about butthurt. It's like
Oh my god.
I have the bony ear, but it's such a bad position though. Like the way he goes about it.
So were they friends in military college too?
Probably they oh fuck it, they all know each other. Yeah.
Yeah. They all know each other. Soldier ends up back. What I forget where
This
Soldier even was.
so basically, like this whole episode takes place in like Texas. It's meant to be like America's kind of split in half between the Reds and the Blues, but like Texas is kind of like one of the dividing points. So like only like a few miles away, it's like red territory, but like he's in blue territory. Some shit like
I
that.
see. So this engineer seems to be cool with it.
He just found him like passed out, and like the ponies, it's kind of ambiguous whether they were actually there or if it's him having a mental breakdown.
I see. Oh, and you have good old Halcoon and Moondark. Did you make these characters up, or did they?
Oh no, they belong to like an old college mate of mine, but like we just kind of grew apart on the project, you know.
I see.
It's like I had to like downplay on some like later episodes or whatever. Like I was probably gonna get him like killed off or something along that effect. There's this whole like arc involving like General Heavy that'll show up in like the next episode, obviously.
And then Soldier has the power to turn his rocket launcher into a sword.
Yeah, there's like a lot of characters have this baseline magic where they could just spawn a weapon from their hands and stuff.
Yeah, Zalgo Spy has a sword now.
Oh yeah, this is really stupid. So like he charges him, he's not actually there, he just psychs him out.
Yeah, like, oh, he just ran off the side. But then they save his life for some reason.
No, they want to hold him for ransom or some shit.
Ah, I see.
That's why they had him all tied up or whatever. It's a bit weird. Like sometimes the motivations aren't even that clear due to the lack of dialogue. Like when, go on.
There's this spy who has like his voice is changed to like this raspy voice, and like he works for the Troll Empire, right?
Yeah, he was meant to be like they took some schematics. They genetically engineered a spy who's like has these psychic telepathic abilities, but supposedly he like betrays them in like a later part in the story and all that.
And now like we cut to that fight for like 15 seconds and then
that fight never goes anywhere. It's like if you made a joke about Blue Spot, one of them would be, oh, and it's still on the train. You know what I mean?
Still on the train. That was one thing I kept talking about in the videos. Like, they're still on the train. Is it gonna go anywhere? No. Like the most progress on that fight happened during the intro to the fourth one.
Yeah. Well, the irony is the intro was just for show. If that makes sense, it's like
Right.
it's like any opening, though, if you think about it.
Just like the only action in that fight was in the intro to the next video.
Oh god, this thing. You seen Durarara?
My sister was obsessed with that show for a while. I've seen a bit of it.
It's alright. It has a bit of a Tarantino-esque quality with the way they take an episode, but then like each episode's happening simultaneously to other episodes.
Right.
So it's like it'll switch perspectives, and they have some like really like quirky characters. It was kind of weird. But they always had this ending sequence, and it's kind of became a meme. And I thought, oh, I could join this meme too. And it's like,
Well, it's not a terrible piece of artwork, really. I mean, the characters look pretty weird.
yeah.
But it's not.
Some of their skull structures are really weird as well. It's like if you compare them to the actual models, it's like their nose has gone completely flattened. I think this person would grow up to be like a proper Tumblr artist or whatever. You know when they get the characters, but they make their noses like really flat for some reason.
Or like really red or whatever.
Yeah, I never got that. I never understood why they do that.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not one to like make fun of like go about like the Tumblr art style or whatever, but I can definitely see. Is that a Slenderman spy?
No, that's just Slender Man.
Oh,
He
okay.
wasn't that tall. He wasn't that tall. I agree with you there. Okay, here's the last one. I had to like gather all the footage together. I was only missing 1 or 2 files, but I came up with a composition scheme to like get it all together. So I downloaded it from the YouTube just to get like 2 missing images, and I like melded it with a fresh, like high quality copy.
Oh, I see.
That's why it took me a long while to actually get this whole thing together.
Yeah.
Oh,
We actually got to see the inverted shadow that time. But then
yeah.
there's this, yeah.
So this whole scene was inspired by a film called Labyrinth. You've seen that?
Oh, with David Bowie, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of scenes from it, but I never sat down and watched the whole thing.
Oh, dude, it is like a fantasy masterpiece of the time period. But yeah, this whole scene, it was meant to be kind of like that dream sequence where like the main character's like dancing with this like handsome male character, but then when he takes off the mask, he's meant to be like the main villain, and then she like wakes up and all that.
Oh, I see.
So
That's interesting.
yeah, I don't know why she turns human. Like there was maybe like symbolism, but I thought the messaging was that like looking back at it, like the messaging is like, was there ever an issue that she was meant to be a pony? Like, don't get me wrong, it's weird on the surface on like an outsider perspective, but in its own story, it doesn't actually make sense. If that makes sense.
Right. I don't know. Yeah. I might watch Labyrinth at some point. I mean, I like David Bowie a lot, so.
Yeah, he's a wonderful artist.
Hmm. Yeah, I've been listening to like just his music for like the past several weeks.
Oh, a lot of people ask me where the hell this opening came from. There was
Oh yeah, it's 4chan City, right?
yes, I think there was one before that called Nightmare City, which 4chan City was
Oh,
also based on. So there was a few different versions of this. I always had chills watching it when I was younger, and I thought, you know, I want to remake it someday. And so I went out of my way and I just remade it. Like, just fuck it, you know?
honestly, it's not terribly done.
I think some of it's a little bit like jolty. Like there's a lot of techniques I didn't know how to do, which you know what I mean. If I knew how to do them now, I could probably make this a little bit better, but not by much. The problem is with the big city map, it's just so vast, and you have to like stretch out the light so much and all that.
Hmm. Yeah, so yeah, it's neat seeing all this stuff crammed into this intro, most of which never goes anywhere because there's no more episodes. But
Yeah, like here's the thing. After this episode, I kind of realized like this show was on really shoddy foundations, and not to mention it just got way too weird. Like a lot of people were struggling to follow it, and like there was a lot of plot points missing. It's like imagine writing a story like a bridge, but then when you connect it to the other side, you notice that they're like an entire horizon away from each other. You know what I mean?
right, you have like so much stuff to like try and wrap up that like it's not worth it anymore.
Something along those lines, yeah. I did give it one last shot with like this whole Big City Chronicles nonsense, but to be honest, it was more its own thing at that point.
Right. Right, like I remember what was your video? Sekiro Spies a Tank, where like you're
Yeah.
you're like the mayor of Big City or something.
Okay, so here's the thing, it's very relevant to this episode, and I'll actually go more into DL once it gets onto that part of the video. But yeah, there was meant to be like a character called Sekros who was meant to be like another spy, not the same spy, but like a different one. But a lot of people, like Max STD, couldn't tell him apart. There was like 3 or 4 different blue spies or something, and he's like, "Oh, which one's which?" Like he had a mental breakdown or whatever, trying to tell which was which. He was like, "Oh, which
Right.
one is it? Which one is it?" It's
That
like,
that blue spy that was on the truck with like the fedora and like Deus Ex glasses, like that was what I thought that was your self-insert, right? Was it?
here's the thing, it got into really messy territory because again, a lot of arguments about like the ethics of using and not using personas and stuff.
Right.
Like, for example, if you make a character one way, people could get it twisted whether or not it actually represents you or represents a type of character you like looking on a TV, if you catch my drift.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't really have a problem with self-inserts. I would probably do it if I had my own like TV show or something.
Yeah, it's like,
Also,
go on.
at the beginning there was like PewDiePie. He like turned into a chair.
Yeah, I don't know what was the point of that. Like, he just kind of becomes a chair, and I sit there and I'm like, oh, don't get me wrong, it's a cool transition. But looking back, it's like, what's the story behind that? Does he work with the Blues? Does he work with the Reds? Did he infiltrate inside the building? Is that going to come back later? Actually, you know what? I think what would be cool is if like General Heavy comes back and they lock the doors in, but then the chair disappears and then like PewDiePie opens it, letting the Reds in, as if it was part of their plan all along, like a JoJo moment or something. Like you just get the rumble text come through as he opens the door.
Oh God. Yeah, I feel like I remember you mentioning something like that PewDiePie was like a shapeshifter or something.
Oh yeah, well, I mean he could turn into a chair. Like that was always kind of his joke back in the day.
Like chair mode activated. I feel like I remember stuff like that. Yeah. And there was also a part in like the last episode's intro where like he threw a barrel at a zombie pony or something.
And it explodes. Yeah, I remember that. Like all the motions were really jonky with the Gary's Mod animation side of things.
I remember like Spike jumped on the barrel in like mid throw for like no reason.
It was. Here's the thing, when you grow up with like watching Sonic games and everything, they do some really stupid shit, but it looks cool, and you don't even think why the fuck they're doing it to begin with. If you catch my drift.
Exactly. Yeah. Like yeah, jumping on the barrel, it doesn't serve a purpose like attack wise, but it does kind of look neat, so might as well.
Oh, here we go.
It
Family
took a
Guy
whole
reference.
episode for them to hit.
Yeah, it did.
Took the whole episode for them to hit the ground.
I like to imagine that this is taking place roughly like maybe a little bit before Blue Spy hit the ground or whatever. It's like it doesn't happen all at once, but kinda, I guess.
Yeah, it's similar. They somehow fell like so far apart from each other.
The fact they survive is the funny part.
Yeah, yeah, no, they're perfectly fine. We didn't even see Spy hit the ground. We just see him perfectly fine.
Yeah.
This is Team Rocket. Is what this is.
Yeah, this is a Team Rocket reference. I don't know. It's like I got the CD to Pokemon and I just like ripped all the audio and I found the Team Rocket one and I used like the most high quality version I could find for this.
What does that scout say when he pops up? I never.
Oh, Arthas. That's right. There was a guy called Arthas who was like. Oh, it was a long story, but basically, the problem with the Garry's Mod community is as soon as one guy hates another person, everyone hates them. That's like the end of it. It's like they don't even think about it, and it's gone so bad that they made a whole collab about it, and it was. Here's the thing: when you're like trying to win like social points, like people end up like doing some really like weird stuff. And like I don't know, it's like I put him in there, and then I think later on we all realised that it was kind of stupid, like attacking this guy or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. People like fighting their battles like in their videos or comics, whatever. That always seemed really silly to me.
Don't get me started on that. There's a lot of, I mean, technically speaking, you could call half the comics I've seen, well, not death threats, but definitely death related. Like there was a lot of grisly stuff I saw.
Yeah. Is there any lore behind the Heavy heads poking out of the ground?
Okay, so there's going to be a lore how like Heavy is like the second in command of the Red Faction, and he's meant to be an alchemist, and he has like a Philosopher's Stone like tucked away in his coat, and he uses it to create duplicates of himself. So that's how the Heavies come out the ground. So he makes armies on the fly.
This is the same Heavy like who in the first episode was like crying for Spy to help him because he didn't want to get mauled by a tiger.
Yeah, I have nothing. I don't know what that is. Seriously, this is what I mean. It was on the fly. It was just next thing. It's like Araki when he writes his JoJo. It's like, have you ever noticed when you watch a JoJo, there's like a bajillion different plot points, but then you know it's like several of them just go nowhere.
Right, there's like the whole Araki forgot meme.
Yes, exactly. Only this is Blue Spy, Sekrios forgot. Oh, we forgot this. Yeah. He forgot that.
And Halcyon and Moondark are allies now for some reason.
Oh no, they're not allies. They're just tied up.
Oh, I see. Because like I don't know, like Halcyon was like looking at the camera all like.
Yeah, he's just stupid. Like he always does that in his artwork. So I tried to like pay homage to like the way the character's portrayed.
I see. So they're just tied up. They're not actually helping them.
Okay, so this scene, Rarity is having that quote-unquote kawaii voice.
Yeah, and she's like asking where Spike is, even though he's not listed
Spy-chan.
as
No,
suitor.
no, she's saying Spy-chan.
No, Spike. Yeah, that's Spike Chan. I meant Spike. Yeah, because
No,
Spike
not,
wasn't
not,
originally.
no, not Spike. She's saying Spy.
Wait. Oh,
She,
wait. She's saying Spy Chan.
yeah,
Oh, I thought it was. I could have sworn it was Spike Chan, like
nah.
Spike
Th
from My Little Pony.
There was meant to be a story arc where Spy and Spike would have to fight to the death or whatever in like a duel or some shit. I don't know. Like there was a lot of ideas that never actually came to be, and like I think that was like one of them just floating around there.
Well, that completely clears up my confusion with that scene. Well, aside from just why she's talking like that, but still.
I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny. I literally, that's the whole reason. Wouldn't it be funny if she had an anime girl voice? I think I was watching like Brooding, like Ninja Scout, and they had like this female character, but she would always like squawk like a seagull.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, those are who made those Crocodile or whatever his
Yep,
name was.
Crunky boy.
Yeah, yeah. They have tanks that shoot giant bullet bills.
Yeah. Don't ask about the physics of how the shells work or anything. It was just a cool scene.
GG motherfuckers. Where's that line from?
I don't know where the line itself is from, but I had my friend Ospaco voice it.
Oh, I see. It sounded like it was something that you'd hear in like I don't know, like a Die Hard movie or something.
Oh, here we go. So that was meant to be reference to like George Bush sending like Blue Spy's dad into the army draft.
Oh,
So he gave him
I
his
see.
keyblade.
Oh, so that wasn't supposed to be Spy in the background. That was George Bush. Okay.
Yeah. There's a George Bush in the background, like the way the silhouette lines up, and you have like the father who's based on the CEO model because like I mean he graduated from being a spy to being the guy in charge of the actual Blue faction.
Who voiced that spy there with the fedora?
Oh no, that was me.
That was you.
Yeah, I voiced him. It wasn't that good. I think I've got to the point if I've ever brought back like Sekros and anything, I'd probably get someone else to do the voicing on the actual thing just to keep it professional.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, I speak English, but like some of my syllables get crossed, so it doesn't sound that readable.
I see.
I think they call it Soldier Boy syndrome.
Soldier Boy. I haven't heard of that, but you know,
I mean, if you ever hear him sing, his syllables they just clash.
yeah, it's a fitting name. Yeah. Oh, Dota 2 abilities activate.
Yeah. Oh, this scene. A lot of people wondering what the fuck's going on, and I'm sitting there going, no, there was a video game where you're meant to play as ninjas, and there was a whole level where you would jump from helicopter to helicopter, and all the ninjas would be running on the blades.
Oh god, I love that scene where he runs on the helicopter blades. That's just uh, like I can appreciate like pieces of work that like go for things that are like really really ridiculous, but just like revel in that like cartoonish ridiculousness like that.
Yeah, Blue Spy was all about that, but I think the problem is it wanted to be a little bit more than that, but it couldn't because it already set its position up.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes it crossed less not so much absurdist humor, but more like random humor, and it's kind of a hard balance to strike sometimes.
Yeah, I'm still struggling to do it, but I think I am getting better, I think. Like,
Yeah,
go on.
I have like this series of like fan fiction parodies that I write that use like they just parody fan fiction in general, but like I feel like I've kind of gotten a fairly decent grip on like what is it?
Tone balance.
Yeah, like using actual absurdist humor instead of just being random. And sorry, what was this? On topic of the video, there was that king spy there with the handsome Jack mask.
Oh yeah, that's a long story. Like, you ever heard you ever heard the adage, you either like die a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain?
Yes.
Yeah, that is very true of quote unquote handsome spy.
Wait, so is that like a future alternate version of this spy?
Yeah, more or less. It's like very complicated though. It's like there's time travel, then there's timelines within timelines and shit. It was meant to be like a proper like 4-dimensional chess.
Fourth dimensional chess. Hmm.
Yeah, here's the thing. This whole fourth episode was created during Bioshock Infinite.
Oh, I see.
So when they had the whole
Yeah, I remember that whole like Bioshock Infinite reference earlier with like a city on the ground.
yeah, that was the joke. That was the joke. It's meant to be
That was
like,
actually that was actually a good joke. I liked that.
man, I don't know where those grass models are, but I hope I still have them somewhere because I think they got removed from the workshop.
Oh, yeah, this looks like pretty high quality grass, and Rarity's dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like everyone's like, oh my god, is Rarity dead? And it's like the problem is, if I continued the story, all would have been explained, but it's like it just ended at such a sour note. You know what I mean?
Right. It's yeah, I never understood this ending. Like, just like because he went into an alternate dimension, so this I wouldn't think this would be his Rarity that's dead, but I don't know.
It's meant to be. Have you ever seen A Christmas Carol?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those. Oh, is this future set in stone? Can I change it? It's like one of those kind of moments, you know. It's like things that could come to pass if you don't change, Spy-chan.
So how far in the future is this from?
Oh, this was only like at the end of the century, so like maybe like an extra like 5 years, maybe less. I've lost count on the numbers, but more or less.
So Rarity died at the age of 20.
Or something along those lines. Yeah, I don't know how old the actual character is.
Yeah. 20 seems like a pretty decent age. Just comparing like how long ago she died in comparison to this future, I guess.
Yeah. Wow, what a journey. What a
Yeah. I've gone through several instances where I've like went on like the website like Rabbit or whatever, like video showing websites like that, and shared these videos with my friends, and it's always just such a fun time watching through these and like like I don't know if I've ever been as entertained by any Gmod or SFM series as I have with these, even if it's not entirely in the intended way, but still.
Yeah, like this whole thing was just a really big like learning experience from both like a technical but also like an inter-creative like political social sphere. Like there was a lot of things about creating work that I didn't fully grasp at the time and all that.
Right.
Like tone balance, for example. Like obviously the jokes are very just kind of out of the blue for no reason.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just man, you have this series is just like an anomaly. It's just something else. There's nothing else like this on the internet, really.
I think what it is, most people they want to be as original as possible, but the irony is when I work, I usually take influence, inspiration, or references to literally everything. So like the mindset is entirely different.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You do use a lot of references, mash stuff together. You definitely try to go for a lot of like a cinematic feel a lot of the time. It seems like.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. Like I mean, if I had it my way, I would have started it off in Letterboxd like ages ago.
Mhm.
So anyway,
Yeah.
before we finish up, I'm not sure if this is a question that you would be asking or whatever, but I know that some people are very like concerned what's going on with the future Blue Spy. I get like comments about this like a lot.
Yeah. I, I I was gonna ask that, but I didn't think about it. Forgot.
No, it's fine, dude. Like I think ultimately I'm in a very precarious situation because on the one hand it's a good ride, but on the other hand, is the thing it can only be made this way because of a certain like sheer ignorance of like social context.
Hmm.
It's like once you know something's popular or once you know something could be used ironically, it kind of already loses its magic.
Right. Yeah. Because the appeal of this is like it was made completely seriously for the most part. So like it's like The Room. He
Yeah,
thought what he was making was the best thing ever, but it sucked, and that's what makes it so hilarious.
it's a beautiful work of art, The Room.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think what I will say is if I ever touched upon this again ever, it would either be a reboot or a very self-aware continuation. I'd probably go. Here's me. If I was going to be serious, I would like put it up to the max. I would actually reduce the jokes, and I would have these like cinematic scopes. Have Spire sound like a Metal Gear Solid character, and he would say, "She's like, Mike said, get down," like that. Like I might start it off with like, he's on a mission and he's like speaking to the CEO guy, and he's like,
Colonel, I've got to find Rarity.
yeah. No, he'll be like, kept you waiting, huh? It's about goddamn time. Like that, just all these different like references, but just very like deadpan about it.
Yeah, I've actually thought about making my own continuation, just like a episode 5, just because like I've got experience with doing like the self-aware, absurdist humor sort of thing, so I feel like I could do it, but I'm not sure if I want to put in the effort.
No, that's totally understandable, dude. Anyway, that was the director's commentary on Blue Spy, in case any of you was wondering about what was going on with this series. At the moment, I'm still working on Black Dust. However, I might like visit this in the future as a definite maybe. I just say like hang in there, and I'll catch you on the next one.